I wanted to make this video for my sister who is a fervent believer in evolution and that animals can turn into superior beings or that our ancestors are baboon-type primates. And the problem with this is they call evolution this process where if you look up the definition of evolution, it is the process of turning the simple into the complex. But anyone with an IQ over 99, I don't mean that as an insult, but anyone that does have an IQ over 99 knows that you cannot have a process you cannot have a plan, process, or repeated execution without the ability of thought. Evolution has no thought. It is a word used to deceive people. Now we're told there's over 3 million species of life. If evolution were true, if animals and other life forms could be relentlessly perfected from the simple into the complex, we would not be alone. We would not be the only ones walking around with cell phones, walking into restaurants ordering vanilla milkshakes. We are alone. And there is nothing new under the sun. All the things we enjoy that derive from what they call the Industrial Revolution did not derive from the Industrial Revolution from 1820 to 1930, where they say we invented the train, the plane, the car, the telephone, the light bulb, the computer. No. There is nothing new under the sun. And Solomon told us this in the Bible. What is will be, and what will be again. Okay. You can take a look at these doors, and you can Google giant doors on cathedrals. And there are thousands of cathedrals across the earth. Europe, Spain, France, America. And you can take a look at these doors. And you can see the lady or person there. And we are told that people riding horses, donkeys, and mules with mule carts erected these places. Now, you can look at these doors, and all these doors are the scale of this. This is the best one because it has an individual there. That's why I chose it. But all of these doors are humongous doors on very fabulous structures that were built, you see. And this is even in, right there you can see the people. Now, my point here is that people of the past were much greater in stature than we are now. It is highly evident that we are regressing as a people, or the people we represent are not as advanced as the people who used to live on the earth, which I believe are the people who died in the flood. They built all these marvelous things that we see, that they try to say they erected for world fairs and then tore them down after the World Fair, which is all lies. We don't build stuff like this today. One second, let me show you. Now these are just some cathedrals in my mother country, Spain. And this is in Spain. There's over 200 or 300 of these things in Spain. And when you look at these things, we do not build things like this today. Okay, these are glorious stone structures, beautiful and magnificent. People riding horses, donkeys, and mules did not build these things. Not at all. The people who built these were much greater in stature than we are. Stature is physicality, size, strength, mental ability. These people were 12 and 13 foot tall. as are the doors as that I just shown you. That's why they're so big. These places are grand. We do not build this way. And this is all hidden from us. We are told that a primitive people with no technology, no phones, cars, planes, cranes, bulldozers, that they built all this stuff. And when you look around, you can see that the people are living in primitive homes, wood homes, just real primitive style. And it's apparent, it is, in my opinion, that the people who died in the flood, which was not that long ago, the people, the atheist liars' answer is if the flood did occur, it occurred 4,000 years ago. That is wrong. There's so much evidence out there, fossils found at the top of the highest mountains. There's no way those marine life fossils could have been found there unless those mountains were submerged underwater. Okay, so these people who built these beautiful things were the wicked but industrious people who died in the flood. And Noah, his sons and their wives found grace, got on the ark. These things were submerged for about 150 days, and they survived. Okay, that's why when you look at a lot of pictures in the mud flood category or topic, these buildings up close look weathered, and the people standing next to them, you can see that the buildings look ancient. Next to the mud huts and wood homes of the new residents of the area. When Noah, his sons, and their wives got off the earth, God said, "Be fruitful and multiply, repopulate the earth." And it took a while to get the earth repopulated, and they came across these things and claimed it as their own. Wickedness started to abound again, lies. And this truth is covered up. Our calendars are wrong. October, December. December cannot represent the 12th month. December, decade, decalogue, decapolis stands for 10. Okay, October, octopus, octagon, 8 arms, 8 sides, stands for 8. October cannot represent the 10th month. December cannot represent the 12th month. And I'm aware that they allegedly took these names of months from other calendars and requisitioned them for their new Julian, Gregorian, solar calendar. But it's all a falsity. It's all false misrepresentation. Evolution cannot be true because if it's a process, it would require the ability of thought. We would not be alone. If you Google how long has mankind been on the earth, they have the audacity to tell you we've been here up to 300,000 years in modern form. That means mankind, as you see him today, has been roaming the earth for over 250,000 years. That's illogical. So we were here for, let's say if we were here 200,000 years, then 195,000 years we were basically retarded until 1820 when they invented the steam engine to throw it on a train and make the steam train. And then in a 110-year time period, out of the 200,000 years, in a 110-year time frame, we built and invented the train, the plane, the car, the light bulb, the telephone, and the computer, which was invented, they tell us, in 1930. The Z1 that took up a couple rooms just to operate this thing. No, there's nothing new under the sun, and this technology has always been here. There's technology that they do not allow us to have. They got you buying batteries when that is technology is so old. They just don't want to lose the millions and billions of dollars they make every year, forcing us to buy batteries all the time. And it's terrible. It's a terrible thing. There is one thing more precious than fine gold, silver, and all the treasures on the earth, and it is your spirit. The true battle that rages on is literally for your spirit. The Bible tells us that Satan said himself, "It is appointed unto me this authority to give out kingdoms to whomever he chooses." And these billionaire people did not, through hard work and dedication, achieve these things that they have. Your IQ would be the same as a mule if that's what you think. Now you know the story of David and Goliath. Goliath was some 10-foot tall guy, which, if you've seen a 10-foot tall guy today, you would consider him a giant immediately. But they always depict David as 5'2", 5'3", or 5'5", a small guy. But the Bible tells us that the people in David's time and even Jesus' time, that these men were of a far greater stature than us. In 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 20, I believe, we are told that David defeats the city of Rabbah, or the king of Moab, and David takes the king of Moab's crown and wears it. And this crown weighed 75 pounds, or 1 talent, in fine gold. Now the strongest man on the earth could not wear any 75-pound headgear. But David did. David's son Absalom would pull his hair or cut his hair, and just the hair that he cut weighed 6 pounds. Do you know how much hair you would have to stuff in a bag to weigh 6 pounds? Now, these atheist theologians got their excuses. Oh, they used to sprinkle gold dust in their hair and anoint themselves with 3 pounds of oil in their hair. Come on. The only way you could believe that is by instantaneously believing everything they say, because you are indoctrinated to believe these people are far smarter than you are. Let me tell you, true logic, true intelligence does not discriminate. It is found anywhere and everywhere. All you have to do is consider the matter. Taking the time to consider something reveals the matter. All you have to do is Google giant doors on cathedrals or the old structures of the past, and you can see these doors were made that large for a reason. And they take off the handles because that would be even more obvious. They don't want people asking, why are the handles way up here? So they take them off. But like I said, all these doors are like this and the one I just shown you. And the people of the past were far greater in stature than we are. And this is suppressed when they find the bones of a 13 or 14 foot tall individual. It is suppressed. The Smithsonian or like-minded institutions rush in and confiscate it, because these bones contradict evolution. According to evolution, we are going to get bigger, we're going to advance in intelligence. They can't have people knowing that civilizations of the past were much greater in stature than we are now. So it's suppressed. Our entire history is suppressed. It's disgusting what they do. And you Google that in giant doors on cathedral. And you get this. They're giant doors. Look at that. You think they went out of their way to haul all that stone and whatever that door's made of to make the door like that? No, absolutely not. People riding horses, donkeys, and pulling mule carts. No bulldozers or cranes. Nothing like that. No, there's a reason why all these doors, even in my own town of Rochester, New York, Michael's Church on North Clinton Avenue, has doors like this. It's amazing. These are the remnants, the buildings that survived the Great Flood. Now I'm going to show you that what exists even in Rochester, New York, the first floor, second and third floors of buildings underground, which a lot of people call the mud flood. And this is the result of Noah's flood. It did not happen 4,000 years ago, but not that long ago at all. That's why our calendars are all based on fooling us. 1 second, please. Now, I like this guy. His name's John Levy. I listen to some of his stuff. Now, this was all revealed, dug out, that this was the street level, and they dug it out, and it went much further down. I can see this even in Rochester with the two churches around the corner. You can walk up. I was one day looking at the stained glass windows, wondering if they were made by Louis Comfort Tiffany, and I noticed right where the grass and dirt was that I could see a little bit of what looked like a window, and I was like, wow, what the heck, what's going on here? But it wasn't until I seen one of these videos on what they call the mud flood that I realized, oh my goodness, there's a lot of dirt and mud that covered things up. Now this place, they have it, these doors are not original, but they dug down and revealed all this extra. The sidewalk came up to here, you see? But you can see that door, the doors to this place were much bigger and went down. Something happened where all the bottom of this building got covered in mud and dirt. And when the new occupants come in, they repurposed it. They said, we're going to keep this beautiful structure of stone and mortar. And they built doors here. These doors were not original. But this door was much bigger, you see? And it was all underground. And you see what we need to excavate modern day equipment. Now this is the same building, and it goes down much further, and they went in to the buried part, and there was an amphitheater in there. All this was underground, unbeknownst to the people walking around on the top. You know, it's incredible. This is another building that was repurposed as a church, and all this was all underground. All underground. This here, you can see the building that we would see, the sidewalk was up to here, and all underneath, more of the structure that goes way down. And this was a result of Noah's flood. It did not happen that long ago. Like the church I was talking about, it was like that. See, in this situation, it was probably a sidewalk there. But in my situation, there was dirt and grass, but I could see some of this protruding out. And I was like, what the heck? How did that get covered? And one day I might make another video. I might get that on video to show you. Now this was really crazy. You got these buildings up here, cars driving around, and they dug all this out. And this stuff is built on other buildings. Look at that. I think this is in New York City. I don't know how they explain this away. I don't even know if they told anyone. This might be just some independent that took a picture or made a video on it. But look at the cars are driving around. These buildings are built on top of all this. And this was unearthed. Like that history show, Cities of the Underworld. Well, that's just a little touch of the truth. Now, I believe in the Bible, and the Bible is true. And I believe our calendar and our history is all lies. There's no way that modern man has been on the earth for 200,000 plus years. Remember, modern man is what Google and Wikipedia will tell you, that we in present day form, same brain pan size of our brains, that we've been on the earth 200,000 years, and it took 195,000 years of fumbling around, riding on horses, donkeys, and mules for us to get to 1820, what they call the Industrial Revolution, to invent the plane, train, steam engine, telephone, light bulb, computer, and everything we have. From 1930 to present, all we have done is relentlessly perfect and progress the plane, the train, the car, the computer, the light bulb, and the telephone. Okay? And that's it. This was all underground, this stuff here. Buildings that they built these other buildings on top and paved streets over them. And these people didn't even know what was underground, more structures. This stuff is the remnants of the people who died in the flood of Noah's Ark. It didn't happen that long ago. Okay? That's my opinion. Let me always say that certain things that I say are my opinion, they are my opinion. And that should always be stated, because you cannot prove things you were not there. But based on logic, there's no way all these things could have got covered up with the mud and dirt. The first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh floors underground, unless a lot of water brought in and distributed dirt all over the place to bury stuff. And we built a top of it. And you can, even in my own town, as I've said, there's 2 churches supposedly built in the 1860s. And you can see down at the ground level that it goes down further, and there's windows that are covered with dirt and with grass growing on top. I always wondered about that. And then I kept it moving. You know, the distractions of my day. The pursuit of material things. You know, the people of the past were far greater in stature than we are today. We are regressing. Unfortunately and sad to say, if evolution were true, we would not be alone in intelligence. If baboon-type primates could gradually change, a gradual process in skeletal structure, into us over millions of years, why didn't any other baboon-type primates or other animals evolve into something intelligent too? Why is it only the human race? Why are Homo sapiens the only ones that can walk into a store and order a vanilla or strawberry milkshake? No, all the other animals rely off pre-programmed instinct. They are born with these instructions ingrained and programmed in their mind. We are not. A human child must be taught how to walk and how to talk. Without guidance, they will not walk or talk. We need to be taught. They do not. You could take a lion cub from its mother, and that lion cub will be it is still a lion. You understand? Evolution is illogical. They teach all these theories as fact when they are still theories. They are atheists and parasitic liars lying to us about our history. And I'm going to leave it at that, because really any video I should be making should be telling you to stop, drop, and roll yourself over to a Bible and read Matthew chapter 24. Because we are in bad times now. I believe everything is culminating to a conclusion. I am 50 years old, and in the last 3 to 4 years, I have never seen the things that I have been seeing today. I've seen 3,500 Black Lives Matter, comprised 50% of white people and 50% black, march through my neighborhood. Now, when there's a protest, they usually do it at City Hall or in the downtown area. They've never taken protests to the neighborhoods of the people. I heard them coming a mile away. And I thought, are we being invaded? And I went out, and I got some of it on video. I might upload it someday. But the stark realization of seeing 3,000 people march by your house is the realization that at any time, if these people want to become violent, they can. And there's very little you could do to stop them. I mean, they had helicopters following them in the air. I've never seen anything like that before. I've seen protests, but not going through people's neighborhoods. I believe America, or the world itself, but I'll keep this to America, is under a multi-pronged attack to destabilize and topple our country. Okay? We had, I forgot again the event. That was a simulation in 2019 by the usual suspects, Bill Gates, and they were running a simulation that turned real. And it's what you've been hearing about every night at event 221, 122, something like that. And it turned real. And it's what you hear about every night at 6 and 6:30. It's not going away. It's here for a reason. And sooner or later, you will not be able to buy, sell, or move around freely without requirements, without you fulfilling the requirements. And that's what's going on. Defund our law enforcement so that there can be no response to the coming anarchy. That's never occurred before, not on the scale that is going on now. And you know how many billions of dollars we've spent fortifying our border? And now the doors, the walls, and the gates are flung open. Hundreds of thousands. And to date, millions have flooded in. Right now, they're flooding in unchecked. We don't know who they are, what they're running from, what they're bringing. And they got the nerve to say that fentanyl is out of control. It's been out of control, Mr. Muir. David Muir, scumball you. And now we have rumors of war that are now war. My brother the other day called and told me Russia invaded Ukraine. And I just got a headache from that. Russia invaded Ukraine 3 weeks ago. Okay? The news that people are hearing is weeks old and watered down. And what's going on, everything we see today is unprecedented, and it's coming to a conclusion. It is culminating. Okay, search your heart and you will know that things that are going on at present, when has ever 4 battleground voting polls shut down simultaneously for 8 hours? That's never happened. And that's when it started. All this stuff that's hitting us, this stuff. So that's what my video should be. Get you a Bible. Read Matthew chapter 24 so you know the true state of what's going on, because everything Jesus said that would happen is going on right now. And if you think that gas might not hit $8 a gallon by this spring, then you're in for a big surprise.